Hello, this week we are going to draw a shoe. Reason being is that we are going to look at contours and how we might travel and think about contours in terms of landscape. And also shoes because we've got empty space within the body of the object. So it's quite good looking how we can travel over and then create a space within. Okay, and with everything, these are just shapes. So regardless of the fact that this is actually a hole, when I look at it and half close my eyes, I will just see a shape. Okay, so with all drawing, we start by sharpening our pencils, which I have done already, and then by just looking. Okay, and I start to think about where I'm going to place the object on my paper, as I do with everything, and I'm just taking in very rudimentary angles. So I'm just allowing myself to just take it in and fit it on. And this sort of like, I'm not sure if you can actually see, this is probably, it's very, very faint initially, but it just allows me to see where it's sitting. Okay, so I might just move over a little bit. So I'm just going to move, I had a little pot there that was just breaking my flow. So I'll do this a little bit darker so you can see. So that's, within that shape is the body of my shoe. Okay, so this is the heel angle, and I'm just going to line it up. Actually just do it like so, and then come back, and that's sort of like pretty much spot on. It's quite good if you actually put basic angles in, and then you've got something actually to line up with. Okay, so that's a little bit stronger angle coming down. It's always good just to double check. So I've got the heel angle, and I've got the side of the shoe, and then I've just got the end. So I'm sort of at this moment, I'm sort of like guessing that the whole shoe will fit in there. So I'm going to start travelling the distances now, because this is guessing that it's that high and that long, and then it comes to here at the end. Okay, and that's out of kind of like, you know, a sort of like eye that's used to looking. But if you're not used to looking, it's sort of like takes time to get there. But anyway, initially I'm just going to start just sketching with those angles and just finding the anchor point from there. So from that starting point, I'm going to travel down along the shoe. So I know that this isn't, this is sort of like softer. So for this exercise, I'm not expecting everybody, excuse me, to be able to draw a finished shoe, but it's about getting those basic shapes in. Okay, so I'm just going to check the angle coming down, and checking that I can just see very roughly how it changes as I start to build up the body of the shoe. Okay, so I'm going to start from here. This is my anchor point, and start to move down, and just like we did with the leaves, I'm kind of like, I'm traveling and looking and feeling the distance, allowing the flow to come. Okay, and from there I'm going to travel in, and I'm going to use what the shoe is giving me, which is that heel, and I'm going to feel the distance, and I'm going to travel along with it. So I want to bring it around to this point where it starts to curve. And I'm keeping contact, as much contact as I can, with the paper, so I can flow and feel it. And when it's fluid, it doesn't matter if any lines go in the wrong place, I can go off like that, I can always come back. Okay, so then I can start to feel, well, what's the shape coming around? I half kind of like close my eyes, I can start to circle my way in. And it might be I've gone too long here, but I won't know yet, so I won't finish that until I actually have figured out my space here. So I'm going to say, what's the shape here? The top of the heel, and that needs to come in a little bit closer. It's that empty space, but it's still a shape. So I can just see, actually that is too narrow, so I need to go a little bit higher. And what I can do is actually measure a little bit and go, how does one part of the shoe measure up to the other part? So this, I can see actually, so I'm much too short on my shoe. So in comparison, that's over the width and a little bit again. Just always good to double check. So it's about here. So I need to move everything up. And just sharpen my pencil again. This is why at this sketching stage, you don't commit to lines, you keep everything fluid. Nothing is fixed. It's the planning stage. And by just simply moving that up, I can start to see what the shape is again. It's coming back. I haven't lost what I've done. It's all adding to it. And everything you have that the shoe's giving you, use. So I can see that the heel comes round, and that will connect internally and externally, again keeping it flowing. Okay, so I'm just going to see what the angle is coming down, and that comes down into this sort of like crease here at near the base of the shoe. Now I just want to watch that I don't put too much attention here until I know that I've actually got that shape right. And so if I commit too much here, and then it's wrong, so I think it's needs a little bit more space here. And this is when it's quite good to play with contours that come, it's like an undulating landscape and travelling down and up and over. I'm not going to do all the sort of like the fine details of the shoe. I just want to get the main body. I'm not going to get caught up with that. And the same with sort of like if you have laces. So you can just do what's the overall shape of those laces, and how can they help you just get the basic shape. So here I've got the laces, so I'm just going to indicate where they are. It's kind of like just a little, and again it's just folding in on itself, so I can just see what that is like, and that comes like so. So I don't want to do any more than that. And from there I can see that actually I need to give myself a little bit more space coming round the shoe here. It's grown a little bit. So if you see how one shape is in relation to another shape, and then you can see, well, actually I need to just give that a little bit more room, because everything to begin with is a guesstimation, and that's fine. And just do a basic sort of like stitching, indicating where that is, and the first sort of like hole there for the laces. Okay, so I'm going to, the reason I do a shoe is because we have space that comes in and then kind of like carries on round, but you have this kind of like depth that you want to sort of create here, and that's when we can start to look and feel contours, a little bit like we did when we started with the apples. There's this like fold here where the shoe kind of like folds up and along. Okay, I'm not going to do any more there. I'm just going to draw this in a darker colour. The reason I do a shoe also is because everybody has shoes, and they don't have to be sort of like a lace-up shoe. You can get a heel if you have a heel. They are challenging in terms of angles, but it's about lining things up, and it's a good challenge to give yourself. So here I can see that this comes out, so with my basic line I can just then embellish a little bit and give a little bit of flurry. I want that to flow. I'm not going to do too much on the lace, just indicating that there's folds there. And the reason it's good to do a little bit of the lace because it helps you work out distance and where things are in relation to each other. So let's come down here. Got a fold. I want nice flowing lines again. I'm just looking where that contour goes. I'll just put that basic in. A slight twist, that comes and twists down slightly. This is raised and then just tapers down towards the toe. Do a little bit, we've got a bit here that comes around and we can get that heel too. That helps. You see where the shoe slightly folds and then it meets there. Okay, we're going to just sharpen here. Just want to give a little impression of what's happening here. So we can see a bit of detail inside. You can see a little hint of the sole, and it's always good just to kind of like line up and think, well, where does it sit within the shoe as well? If you can see a little hint, you can see the shapes, the distance you need to travel to get the next bit, and where it meets. And the back heel. Okay, so this is raised and there's a little bit of shadow under here. This is coming down, this comes round, and this travels up and comes down and over. So a lot of detail there, but I don't want to do that anymore. I quite like this because this we twist and turn, going up, and this comes round. Okay, I'll run through this again in our Zoom class, and don't worry, we'll be looking at getting those basic angles, and then just correcting ourselves. Okay.